up, but we also, if you look the other way, it's pure darkness. So in that sense, yeah, we do see more darkness. Now we have several more sunsets and sunrises every day, so if we're having to be looking out the window a lot throughout the day, we'll see a lot more darkness up here than you do on Earth. That's a great question, and we hadn't figured that one out yet. We don't have an actual shower here, but all we can do is wet down a washcloth or a towel and put a little liquid soap on it and kind of scrub ourselves down every day. Over? Well, you won't see the effects really while you're in space, but you will see when you come back to Earth, and that's you'll have bone density loss, bone mass loss, muscle mass loss, and your body in general just will not be the shape it was when you came home. So exercise is extremely important for us. We do it 2 hours a day, every day while we're up here. Over. We give you a little bit of that because it was moving around. Over. Well, I know there's 5 right now, and they're all attached to the space station. There are 2 Soyuz, Russian Soyuz spacecraft, and that's the ones our crews flew up on. There's a Russian Progress vehicle, which is just a cargo ship. It's attached here as well. And we have a Japanese cargo vehicle, which just arrived 2 days ago, and that's attached. So including the space station, that's 5 vehicles right here. The Chinese also have a space station that's in orbit right now. And there's several other spaceships, maybe a handful, that are out looking at other planets like Mars and Jupiter and Saturn and those kind of things. And satellite-wise, there are thousands of satellites, and they're way higher than we are. So they're not in our way, but I know there's quite a few out there. Over. We typically have 6 astronauts on board the space station. We come up in groups of 3 because that's what the Soyuz, the Russian Soyuz spacecraft holds. So my group of 3 is myself and 2 cosmonauts from Russia, and the other crew is a Russian, an American, and a French astronaut. So right now we have 6 people on board, and most missions are around 5 to 6 months long. Our spacewalking suits are very heavy, to answer your second question there. They weigh about 250 pounds on Earth, but of course up here they don't weigh anything, which is nice. However, we still need someone to help us put them on because they're very bulky, and usually you get in and you need help of 1 or 2 other people. The suits are made of a material called TMG, which is thermal micrometeor garment. So it's just a bunch of layers, I think about 8 layers, that culminate in kind of the white part on the outside that you see when we're going out to do spacewalks. Over. We have a lot of machinery on board, as you might imagine. Things, I think, are the things that allow us to survive. So machines that produce oxygen for us to breathe, machines that scrub harmful contaminants out of the air so we don't breathe those. Those kind of things are the most important, including things like the bathroom, which kind of sounds funny, but it's a very important piece of hardware up here, and if it's broken, then it's a big deal. While we're flying around, we don't use a whole lot of fuel. The only time we'll use fuel is if we're going to reorient ourselves, which happens every few months or so. If another vehicle is arriving, we sometimes have to reorient the space station, and we'll use a little bit of fuel. But in general, we do not use a lot. The orbit that we're in just kind of keeps us here, and that way we don't have to use a lot of fuel. Over. Well, I always wanted to be an astronaut, but before that, I was engineer by schooling, and then I was a helicopter pilot in the Army, so my skills include flying Apache helicopters, and here at NASA, and I just always wanted to do that. Being an engineer was part of my life as well, so, but being an astronomer or something like that, or an astrophysicist were not things that I wanted to do. I'm not sure why, but I had different career paths. Over. The only thing I've seen on this trip, and it was just a few weeks ago, was I was looking out the window at night over the North Atlantic, and I saw an aurora, which is this beautiful, beautiful green kind of flowing gas-looking thing that lit up the northern sky, so that was really special. Over. We have a lot of main aims. The main thing, though, is science and research. So we're doing hundreds and hundreds of experiments, most of those every day, to further figure out the effects of microgravity on a human body, and we're trying to learn a lot of things so that we can eventually send humans to places like Mars, so way away from the Earth. So we're trying to gather all that information we can. Our mission also has a couple spacewalks coming up in early January, so if you get to see part of those, I'll be going outside for 2 spacewalks, January 6th and January 13th. Over.